For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. Since the beginning of time, God's desired worship from His creation. You can read from the Old Testament and the New Testament that people have always had distractions and issues when it came to giving their entirety in worship to God. The transition from Old Testament to New Testament is that God now places one particular figure in the middle of that worship, and His name is Jesus Christ. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For by Him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things were created by Him and for Him. He is before all things, and in Him all things hold together. And He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything He might have the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all His fullness dwell in Him, and through Him to reconcile to Himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through His blood shed on the cross. Maybe you have been distracted in your worship, simple things taking away the adoration you should have towards Jesus Christ. So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in a manger. When they had seen Him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. In this particular scripture, worship boils down to two specific things: faith in Jesus as the Christ and sharing Jesus as the Christ. The shepherds were told that there was a baby being born, so they rushed to this scene, found Jesus there, and that was the initiation of their faith in Jesus as the Christ. Verse 17 says, when they had seen Him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child, and all that heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said. This is the second part of worship, that if you do worship Jesus, if Jesus is someone worth adoring, that you also share that adoration with others. This Christmas season is about more than just a little baby being born. It's about the supremacy of Jesus in all things. Jesus is the focal point of God's plan for all humanity. And this season we want it to be different. That not only that you worship Jesus in a song or in a Christmas tune, but that you think about the fact that Jesus has come to give us life and life more abundantly. God has made Jesus the focal point for all earth, everything that's seen and everything that's unseen. And our job as believers is to worship Him as that and to share with others the greatness of God through Jesus Christ.